You're watching Gearz, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. I have got a question for you. Name the most influential drivers in the automotive world. Go ahead, take a few minutes, come up with 2 or 3 names. Okay, time's up. Who'd you come up with? Probably guys like Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt and Mario Andretti, Ivan Stewart, those kind of guys, right? And those are great choices. Very influential drivers, but not the most influential. No, that distinction goes to guys like Kerry Lofton and Rick Avery and Ian Quinn. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what? Who are those guys? What have they ever done? Well, they've done a lot, because all 3 of them are legendary Hollywood stuntmen that have been at the wheel of some of the most incredible stunts and chase scenes ever put on film. And we all know how influential those chase scenes are to young gearheads. Take a look. Who didn't want to be Steve McQueen and drive a Mustang like Frank Bullitt? Well, that's Kerry Lofton driving the black Charger, and even the Mustang when things got too hairy for McQueen.
Stunt double is important because we are not allowing actors to do that which we're going to do. And we do have actors quite often that, oh, I want to do it, and some actors are quite capable of doing things. But the problem is something happens to them, even if they twist an ankle or blow out a knee, the production suffers because now we don't have them to shoot.
Speaking of Chargers, who can forget the wild driving in Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry? Or the insanity of Gone in 60 Seconds?
Stand by, 1 Baker 11 in pursuit, a 73 Ford Mustang.
The Cannonball Run. Or the French Connection. Matter of fact, movie stunts and chase scenes can actually create trends and influence our popular culture. For example, take a random black Trans Am, put it on film doing crazy stunts like you'd see in a Roadrunner and Coyote cartoon, and you instantly have a classic like Smokey and the Bandit that sent Trans Am sales skyrocketing 300% and knocked Star Wars out of the #1 spot in 1977. And that fact holds true today with all of the Fast and the Furious movies, not to mention the James Bond films, and all of the hundreds of other movies and TV shows that feature wild car chases and insane stunts. And in each one of those vehicles is an unknown stuntman risking life and limb to give us the thrills we've come to expect.
Safety is absolutely the #1 ingredient when we come to work. We look at what we can do to minimize the risk at all times, because I believe that having a healthy level of fear is what keeps you safe, what helps you perform through it. I don't want people who are just daredevils. I want people who understand the level of risk in a situation. We try to minimize that risk and make it look as exciting as possible.
Now, over the years, there have been several movies and TV shows that have come out that have featured the world of stunts. Probably the most famous was the Fall Guy TV show that came out in the 80s and featured Lee Majors and Heather Thomas. But the real star of the show was that 2-tone GM 4x4 truck that literally seemed capable of doing anything. Not only did the show drive sales of those square-body GM trucks, but it also fanned the flames that every car guy has hidden deep inside: to be a stuntman.
So I ended up getting started in this crazy business. Had never intended to become a stuntman, never even thought about that kind of situation. Met a movie producer. I was giving him sailing lessons. They were getting ready to do a movie there, and he actually had a script, and I said, could I read that? And there was a scene where somebody crashes a boat on the beach. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. I said, who gets to do stuff like that? He said, could you do that? And I said, well, yeah, I do stuff like that. I end up getting arrested and getting tickets and things like that. He says, well, we're going to pay you and to do that and everything. So next thing I knew, I was being Taft-Hartley'd into the business, and I realized I was being actually given something. The first day I stepped on a movie set, I went, I'm home.
And this is where the story comes full circle, because the 73 through 87 square body GM trucks are red hot again with the restoration crowd and the hot rod crowd. And of course, every gearhead still wishes they could be a stuntman, at least for a day. So we're going to show you that it's possible to scratch both of those itches with a single project truck. Okay, just to be clear, we're not going to build a straight up clone of the Fall Guy truck, because first of all, that truck changed all the time throughout the series because they kept destroying it. Also, we want to be able to use some of the new technology that's out there for these trucks, as far as suspension and drivetrain, interior, that kind of thing. So we're going to call this project the Stunt Double, because it's going to have a look similar to the old Fall Guy truck, but at the same time, it's going to be far more capable of being beat around, kind of like a stunt double. Hey, we're back and about to start building the Stunt Double, an 86 Chevy 4x4 truck that's going to be a modern version of one of the most popular television vehicles of all time, the Fall Guy truck. Now, the good news is these old square body Chevys, these can still be had for a reasonable price because GM made a zillion of these things and they're still in service. For example, we got this from the original owner. It only has 100,000 miles on it and it's been well taken care of. Take a look. The interior has the typical wear on the seats, the dash, and the carpet. The body also has the typical rust spots around the wheel wells, the bed, and the fenders. But the truck has never been wrecked or abused, and the bed doesn't have a dent in it. So this is the perfect project truck. And the fact that it's a long bed means it's about half the price of what you pay for a short bed in this shape. And the long bed's a better fit for what we're going to do anyway. Okay, since this is a running, driving truck that you could actually drive every day, we're going to start where most people would start on a project like this, in the interior. And this is where you've got some choices to make. Now, obviously, LMC Truck has got everything that you would need to restore this interior back original. But they've also got parts to modernize it and upgrade it, which is what we're going to do. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Everybody knows that the stock GM gauges weren't the most accurate if they worked at all. So we need something better than that. But we don't want to hang aftermarket gauges under the dash either. The solution is this new gauge cluster from LMC Truck that's designed to fit modern, high-performance gauges into a stock bezel. Now check this out. You have water temperature, you have oil pressure, you have fuel, you have battery, you have a real tachometer, and you have a 140-mile-an-hour speedometer, which is much better than the stock 85-mile-an-hour speedometer. Of course, you have all the sending units to hook it up and make it work. Now, to put these two pieces together, just attach the gauge assembly to the stock bezel with the supplied hardware. Then the whole unit is ready to slide in place like the stock gauges. It's a simple deal that makes a major, major difference. Now, since the dash that's in the truck kind of looks like the surface of Mars, we went ahead and got us a brand new dash from LMC Truck and all the hardware that goes with it. Then we also got new seal plates for the carpet. And to go with that, we got new carpeting, we got some new sound deadener, we even got new speakers for the dash and behind the seats. Now, you might be thinking, how did you know what you needed? That is where your pre-planning comes in. Because before you ever buy any parts for a vehicle, you have got to have already looked it over, decided what engine you're going to be using, what drivetrain, what color it's going to be, what your suspension's going to look like, how you're going to lay out the interior, all that stuff. Because then you can order what you want, you can jump right on the project. For example, you'll notice the color of this carpet is different than what's in the truck. Same with the dash. So obviously, I'm planning a lot of big changes for this truck. Now, when you order something like a dash, don't just get it, start slamming parts together, expecting it to fit right out of the box. It just doesn't work that way. Something like a dash needs a little bit of trimming to make everything fit right. If you don't do it, you're going to break parts and just tick yourself off. So what you want to do is take a razor blade and spend a few minutes trimming the openings and the holes to get everything to fit perfectly. The more of this pre-fitting that you can do here on the table, the easier it's going to be when you go to put everything in. Now, once you have it fitting how you want it, now you're ready to get the old junk out.
Tool Tech, brought to you by Cornwell Tools, the choice of professionals.
If you work on cars and trucks very much, you know how important tools are. They literally make all this stuff happen. And one question that we get a lot is, what other tools do I need besides the typical wrenches and ratchets and screwdrivers? Well, that's a really good question. And we have shown you some really important tools in the past. So today we're going to show you some more tools that you really can't live without, starting with chisels and punches. Check it out. Now, contrary to what some people may think, a screwdriver is not a good substitute for a chisel or a punch. All you'll do is destroy the handle or the tip if you use it that way. Now, you need a nice assortment of chisels and punches in different sizes. And you can get a complete kit like this, or you can get them separate, whichever way you want to do it. But these will go a long way to knock loose rusty bolts, to knock off rivet heads, to punch out roll pins. There's all kinds of uses for these. Also, I recommend you get some longer handled punches so you can get into those hard to reach areas. Also, you're going to need some brass drifts. Now, these are used to knock out things like bearing races, and a softer brass will keep you from damaging a nice machine surface. Finally, you need to invest in a handle to hold your chisels and punches. Now, this will position your hand to the side so you don't crush it if you happen to miss with the hammer. Because everybody misses from time to time. Another basic tool that people tend to overlook is the breaker bar, because they just figure they'll make their own by taking a piece of tubing and putting it over the handle of their ratchet. Now, this will work, but it also is known to do other things, like give you stitches somewhere, or bend the handle of the ratchet, or just break the ratchet like this. 230, 240, 250, 260, 260. So, having a real breaker bar for those stubborn rusty bolts is pretty important. Now look at these. You can see you can get them in the standard solid end, or you can get them with a pivoting ratcheting end. But either way, they've got the long handles and they're designed for all that crazy torque that you're going to put on them. Now, a breaker bar should never be confused with a torque wrench, even though they kind of look the same, and you're going to be tempted to use this as a breaker bar. Don't do it. A torque wrench has got an adjustable end, and they either click or have a dial to tell you when you reach a specific torque. Now, these are designed as a precision measuring device, and you need to treat them as such, so you don't use them as a hammer or as a breaker bar. Now, as you can see, I've got 3 different torque wrenches here. Got the 3/8, the 1/2 inch, and the 1/4 inch. Now, the 3/8 goes up to about 100 foot-pounds. The 1/2 inch drive goes up to about 250 to 300 foot-pounds, and then the smaller 1/4 inch drive measures in inch-pounds, and you really need to have all 3.
Now, Quick Tip, brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
You know, a strange phenomenon that happens in a shop or a garage is that some tools tend to grow legs and run off. And screwdrivers and pliers are notorious for this.
Come on, let's go.
Where you going? Where you going?
No, just you stay away. I'm going by myself. Okay, come on, let's go.
But nothing is worse than the funnel. Man, it doesn't matter if you're changing your oil or adding coolant or whatever. When you need a funnel, you can't find it. Matter of fact, I bet you don't know where your funnel is right now, do you? Oh, it's gone. But fortunately, you don't have to run down to the auto parts store, because there's all kinds of cheap funnels all around you if you know where to look. For example, all you have to do is take your trusty Ginsu knife and cut the top off of an oil bottle, and you've got a perfect funnel for putting oil in your vehicle. Say that's not big enough? Well, how about a coolant bottle? Matter of fact, if you look around, you're going to find there's all kinds of containers in your shop that will make a great funnel, even your soft drink and water bottles. I find that I use this tip so much that I don't even know if I have a real funnel around here, which is fine because obviously I wouldn't be able to find it. If you would like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
Parts Bin, brought to you by AutomotiveTouchUp.com Touch-Up Paint. With a press of a button, you can restore your car's original paint.
You know, as cars and trucks change over the years, there's always some issues and problems that come with that. Sometimes it's a handling issue. Sometimes it's a stylistic issue. Sometimes it's a, it's a mechanical issue. But if you drive a modern car or truck, you know that one of the most glaring problems is hazy headlight covers that pretty much make your headlights useless. Now, this is such a big problem that there's a lot of companies that offer products to try to fix this, and most of them don't work very well. So, in the past, the best way to fix this was to wet sand and buff the covers back. And we've shown you how to do that on past shows. The problem is, it's kind of a long, tedious process. A lot of people don't want to mess with it. So they end up driving around with headlights that look like candles. Not good. Fortunately, you don't have to do that anymore because a company named E2 Lens Renew has come out with a kit that will turn your covers crystal clear in about 10 minutes. Take a look. Now, they've got a cleaner, they've got a clear coat, and just a couple of towels. But don't be fooled here. There's a lot of science and a lot of testing that went into the ingredients in these tubs. Take a look. All you do is take the white towel and hit the cover with the cleaning solution. This is the secret sauce that'll remove the oxidation without melting or scratching the lens. Then, once it's clean, apply the clear coat polish with the applicator to seal and protect the plastic. Once it's dry, buff it off with the blue towel. It really is that quick and easy, and as you can see, it actually works. So, if you're tired of messing with dim, cloudy headlights, E2 Lens Renew has got the solution, and you can get it right on our website. Since we're on the subject of car care and maintenance, how do you keep the rest of your vehicle clean? Well, in the past, you threaded on a spray nozzle onto the garden hose and blasted away. And that did pretty good to get the mud and the gook off of there. Didn't do a lot for the grill and the wheels and those tight areas. The solution to that is the ultimate detailing brush called the Brush Hero. And check this out. This is a brush that threads onto your garden hose, and then when you hit the lever, it not only allows water to come out the end, but it also spins the brush, allowing you to get some serious cleaning into some really tight areas. Now, the valve here controls not only water flow, but also the speed of rotation, and you also can get different brushes so you can do light cleaning or knock away some real heavy crap. Also, if you want to add soap to the mix, they've got this soap dispenser that threads right onto the Brush Hero and allows you to run soap with the water, just like down at the local car wash. Except with this, you're not jacking quarters in the machine all the time. And they don't have a spinning brush. So if you're tired of using the old mitt and bucket to wash your car, you need to step up to the ultimate detailing brush, the Brush Hero. Your back and your hands will thank you.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Jet Hot, the most trusted name in exhaust coatings for over 30 years.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Gino Olagala from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And for the last 5 years, he has been working on one of the coolest Volkswagens ever built, the Karmann Ghia. But as cool as the Karmann Ghia is, wasn't cool enough for Gino. So he decided to do a little bit of inbreeding and made it to its cousin, the Porsche 911. And you got to check this out. Now, the roof of a 911 was pulled from a junkyard and grafted onto the Ghia, and then the body was treated to all kinds of modifications, like a fully functional side vents for cooling, Frenched taillights, and widened quarter panels. The engine is also part Ghia, part Porsche, and it's kicking out 270 air-cooled horsepower. The interior will feature custom dash and seats as well. Now at this point, after 5 years of some pretty intense work, car's sitting in primer ready to be painted. But if you'll check out this rendering, you can see what this thing is going to look like when it's done. Man, that is a cool car. You got to give Gino credit for thinking way outside the box on this one. So Gino, to recognize such a cool project, we hooked up with our buddies at Jet Hot Coatings, and they're going to give you a $500 credit to coat the exhaust system of that car, or whatever other system that you might want to put a high-performance coating on. Also, we're going to hook you up with one of our project planning books so you can keep track of everything you've done to that car and finish it out to completion. Also, we're going to give you a Gearz t-shirt because you are obviously a certified gearhead. Finally, we're going to give you an O'Reilly gift card so you can save some money when you go to the auto parts store. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this, you want one of these, you got to go to our website, go to Gearz Nation, and click on What Are You Working On. The website's also the place to find out more information on any products you may have seen on the show, any Gearz merchandise, and how to join Gearz Nation so you can stream any of our episodes commercial-free. Finally, don't forget to like us on Facebook so you can get some behind-the-scenes footage of our weekly web series, Shifting Gears. All right, that wraps it up for us today. Hopefully, you've got this strong feeling to either go out and inbreed with a Porsche 911 or get yourself a square-bodied Chevy truck and build your own stunt double. Either way, we'd love to see what you come up with. We'll see you next time. Oh boy, we're in trouble.